there are some important elements for a player to have a good experience in a tabletop role-playing game hobby. And players can't cheat their way to that experience. You have to invest yourself in the character and the game, at least a fair amount, to get the best out of what these games, these tabletop role-playing games, have to offer. Look, if I encounter you, player, and you're playing a character currently in a campaign, and I ask you to tell me about the character, you'll tell me about the character, but I promise you this, if you add any details that have not been established in the game, there'll be something fake and phony. There'll be something you don't feel when you say it. You know, there is something about being authentic and actually doing the stuff in the game that establishes that as real. I've told players for years, if you don't establish that thing about your character in the game, in a way it's not real. And you won't even feel it. It won't feel real when you say that about your character. What do I mean? Well, your character is funny, or they are sarcastic about something. Well, are they? Have you expressed that in dialogue in the game? And to make it that's a major, important detail about your character, how much have you done that thing to establish that about the personality of the character? In a lot of cases, I'll see players play their character, and what they told me about their character, I don't see at all. In no way is it actually established in the game. Well, they'll tell me this about their character later, but that doesn't even seem to affect the personality of the character. Or in any way how the character is role-played does not communicate that. It's so important to actually do things in the game. I don't like game masters that barely listen or leave the game on the players. Like, oh, you guys go ahead and role play and I'll read this thing. No. A game master has to be engaged the entire time. If you need to ignore something to the point you need to read about something, there should be a paused moment, or a moment where the players understand you're checking the book, for example. You would do that in combat. You need to do that even outside of combat, because your job as a game master is to make sure that you are involved in every aspect of the game, because everything that is happening is based on you acknowledging it. You are the world. When somebody says something, that only gets acknowledged as real into the world when you, the world, acknowledge it, right? Being engaged with your players is a necessary. And it's really necessary, because everything only is real when you hear it, record it, acknowledge it. That is true. So when a player is able to say something with their characters, and they put in the effort, they put in the investment to actually make that real about their character, and you acknowledge it, when you talk about it later, there is an authentic, real feel to that. I see a lot of old school game masters and even new school game masters failing to be really engaged with their players over an entire session. And that's a bit disappointing when I see guys like Matt Mercer out there who, for all the criticism I would give Matt Mercer personally, privately, the one area I think he's really good on is that participating, right? The engagement with the players and paying attention to everything they say or do, because he is the world. In a way, you're game mastering even when it's not your turn to talk, right? So when you look down at a book to read while people interact, you're not game mastering. Like, you are the world. Like, on top of being the game master, the referee, whatever you want to call yourself, you are so many things in one package. You are the world. Like, for the world to keep functioning going ahead, that means you're constantly listening. When you're not listening, when you hand it over to players like that, you're pretty much turning the game off, and just about everything they say doesn't get acknowledged, because you will be the world and the NPCs. Players probably notice this. They'll sit there and have a game master go ahead and socialize, do whatever amongst you players, right? And you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. You seem to establish certain things, but no matter what work you put into that moment, with the NPCs around you won't be established because the game master wasn't listening. So the NPCs will react to you like you've established nothing. Right? The world will react to you like all your dialogue has been meaningless. Now, there is some effectiveness with the other players. They will acknowledge your dialogue, but they'll even notice that the rest of the world around you doesn't acknowledge your dialogue. It's because it's what's happened there is the game master wasn't listening. The game master is as important to just participating by listening as they are by talking. Right? That's the way you improvise, the way you do everything outside of speaking is by listening, by taking in things, by hearing opportunities. When your mind as a game master is shut off or redirected in the wrong place during gameplay, you're messing with the entire process. Right? That can kill investment. And sometimes players will catch on to this stuff without being able to verbally understand it in their mind. They can't explain to themselves why there's something they feel is wrong. It's not right here. And you'll get a lot of players that will leave games where if you ask them, why did you leave the game? Why did you leave that game master's game? They can't really give you a great explanation. They just felt something was wrong and left. That's it, right? And they're not wrong. There is something wrong. The game master is missing stuff. It's really the outcome is what they're unhappy about. But they don't realize the outcome of the world not reacting to them right and all that. That has to do with the game master not listening. They just don't like the outcome. They just don't really put it together in their heads of why is the outcome like this. Well, a lot of bad outcomes are, in all honesty, it's all responsible to the game master. And it doesn't even matter what the mechanics of the game really are, right? The outcome is always on the game master, and they can cause a lot of bad outcomes by being careless. You know, when I was young in the old school, the game master was so responsible for the experience that the idea that you excuse something bad away to do with because of the mechanics was unacceptable. I was a second edition DM, Dungeon Master, and my second edition players expected me to do well even if the system would, redirect us into a bad place. And my players understood if the system redirects us into a bad place, but I let that happen without adjusting anything, it's not the game's fault, it's not the mechanics that are at fault, it's me, because I am responsible for the outcome regardless to what the mechanics are going to do for the game, right? So I still believe that to be something true about game masters. That's why we get the respect, that's why we get the authority, because there's so much put on us. But if we have players recognize how much work we're doing, it's usually a lot easier to have them understand the authority and why it exists. Right? In today's world, in the modern part, the new part of the hobby with young people and everything, a lot of them seem to miss out on that. And as much as I say Matt Mercer is really good on the engagement factor, for some reason he's not influencing a lot of 5e people, that game master, to be that way. I promise you, if you're someone out there that tries to play up things in a way that they just don't make sense, or you haven't established that thing in your game, even to game masters out there that try to shine up their campaign or something they're doing, even though what they're going to tell you really isn't even established with the players. Like if I said, okay, that's true about your campaign, let's go watch a gaming session, I would see you not establish that in the actual gameplay. It'd just be something you would tell your players afterwards, and if you all nod at your head, well, I guess that's real to you then, but nowhere in the actual gaming experience is any of that established, acknowledged, mentioned. None of it, right? And you get game masters doing that, painting their stuff up to be something it isn't. You get a lot of players that do that with their characters. I got to tell them, I don't care that you do that. Go ahead. I might be critical of that type of approach, the painting a false picture so you can pretend something is more exciting or better than what it really is. But here's why I just got to tell you. I guarantee when you have the real experience, it's better. It's so much better that when you have it, it should be the inspiration for why you don't ever bother being petty about these things. Like as a game master, establishing things for real in your game and then talking about it is awesome. It's a lot better than not doing it, not really achieving it, or barely putting it in there, and then talking as if you've achieved the entire thing. The fake out is just empty. It will make you feel empty. And it does nothing. Even if you get a few people convinced of your bullshit or your own deceit on top of yourself, you'll notice it becomes empty really quick, right? And it takes a bit of passion out of you every time you lie about what you're doing here. And that passion is what drives us, because, you know, we're doing something that a lot of people might consider work you get paid for to a degree, right? It's even our casual tabletop role-playing games are not really casual. All of it needs investment to get the best out of it. I love that about our hobby. You can't cheat your way to the best experience. You can say you're having fun, eating the pretzels, drinking the beer, barely caring about being in your imagination. That can be fun, but I mean, you can have the same kind of fun just sitting around shooting the shit drinking, right? It's fun on that level. But you can't get the best experience from this hobby doing that. And I love that you can't cheat your way there. I love that people that are not authentic can't cheat their way to that feel, the actual experience, that they want to be real. They want to have it where their character is this great thing, or the game master's game or campaign is this fun, detailed thing that it's not when you actually go to the game, right? Real is always going to be better. It's better for you, it's better for the experience overall, and the second you have real, you'll get rid of all the fake, because there is something magical and great about what we do in the tabletop role-playing game hobby. And whenever you try to get around the real, like what it really is offering us, you create something that just it's not good. And then you miss the magic of the real, because the real is so good in the hobby. I mean, it's the drug. When people really have a great experience for real in the hobby, when they have a peak experience, you'll see guys that get hooked on what we do for the next 40 or 50 years. It's like a drug. It's addictive because the feel is that good. But you'll never know what that feel is like when you're deceiving yourself and others. Ever, not in this hobby. Yeah, you can boost your ego up, I guess, if that's really what you want to get out of this hobby. Or you can focus on having a great experience. I'm here for the actual game and the experience. Maybe you need to be here for that too. Okay, I love you, at least most of you, for now. Take care.